Yeah.
Yo, what's going on?
Like a great coffee habit. Hold up. Let me show you my cup. Coffee habit. This is one of my favorite cups, y'all. I got this cup from my dad when we went to Dominican on our honeymoon. And he had it with a little spoon.
Your dad was at the honeymoon?
No, I got it when we went on our honeymoon. I got the cup. I know it probably did sound like that.
I don't remember your dad there.
No, but this is my favorite
Lulu.
cup. Stop. Yes, he called me Lulu and Poo Poo. Look those words up. They mean Lulu means a very a nice name.
Could you imagine if we were in the honeymoon and he was like in a bedroom next to us?
No. Because that first night, he would not want to be next to us. First night, and then we slept like 20 hours the next day because we didn't have any rest for like
people like this at the front door hat tilted.
Stop it.
Michael Jordan cry face over.
My dad would have loved it.
Michael Jordan cry face.
He liked the beach and he liked the sand and he loved nature, so he would have loved to look out at the ocean and see the sand. All right, anyway,
so I saw something, man.
I
This is separate. This is I want to know what y'all feel about this, because I know a controversial thing that has always been always been a topic is the death sentence. Do you feel like the death sentence is warranted? Is the death sentence still needed in this day and age? And do you feel like, so I'm looking at these 5 most brutal killers. Do you feel like they deserve death sentence or life in prison? Would it be life in prison? Because we know when you are, your heart is black, you can't find yourself, you won't be on the street. Like, you can't be on the street. And there's still a lot of people out there walking the street right now that have a hearts like that need to be somewhere else. But let's watch this. I'm curious.
Okay, and then I'll give my 2 cents at the end.
The 5 most brutal killers reacting to a death sentence.
Death sentence. Okay. My baby, no, he had these cords a little crazy. Okay, let's go. Yeah, we are hot, y'all. That's what we got on these tank tops, because it was burning up in here.
I know, and then it's freaking ice cold outside.
Is Michael Brady, who attempted a prison escape that resulted in the death of 4 prison workers at Pasquotank Correctional Institution in North Carolina.
I stabbed him like 4 to 8 times. I hit Jeffrey Howard until he stopped moving. I don't know how many times I hit him with a hammer.
Brady was facing 24 years in prison for an attempted murder conviction after he shot at a North Carolina state trooper. And 4 years into his sentence, Brady and 3 other inmates brutally murdered 4 prison workers with hammers and scissors.
That man.
Hammer and scissors.
That's cold-blooded.
Yo.
So this is what be making me, have mixed feelings about the death sentence, because I'm going to be honest, I was about that life for a very long time. People that did heinous and brutal senseless killings to people, I was like, yes, give them the death sentence.
Yeah, and a person like this, so it's like, I feel like, as Christians, I don't feel more say that, well, no, you still, according to the Bible, you still got to obey the laws of the land. And I feel like certain people, no matter, let's say a person was delivered from that, like heart totally changed, you still have messed up the laws of this land. So you got to do the time. Or if death is warranted, then if that's what's your state allows, then it's a possibility that you may be going there if you killed a lot of people, because they never, I don't care how your heart changed, you did what you did, they want you off.
I know, and I was going to say real quick before we go on is that, I feel that there are some things, crimes that people should be sentenced to life for with the rehabilitation in jail. And I do feel that there are some things that, is something that you deserve to die.
Because I feel like this dude, man, if you start up and you killed an officer, shot, or I don't know if they say killed, did they say killed? And then you go in and kill, your heart is just, that's where you are.
Yeah.
Like, how do you?
I mean, I know we're not the judge, but these people were the judge of taking someone else's life before it was their time. So
Michael Brady beat that man, George Midget, like he was trying to bust concrete.
Brady then tried to hop a fence, but then was captured at gunpoint.
It was like a bloodbath, and I stepped in between Jeffrey and Wendy, and I slid trying to get in because the whole elevator floor was nothing but blood.
During the trial, the prosecutors argued that Brady was the one who planned the attack and had no remorse
Look how
for the
cool
killings.
he is about it.
We
He's
know
like,
who
smiling.
originated the plan. We know who led the plan.
After Brady is found guilty, he now takes the stand at his sentencing.
I'm up here to tell the truth. You can ask me anything you want. I'm gonna tell the truth. Whether it hurts me, whether it helps
That
me,
heart.
I don't care about that.
You don't believe you're crazy, do you?
No, I don't think I'm crazy. No.
And you do know.
and see, that's another thing. That's how you know he that heart is black. Because
Yeah.
if you call yourself crazy and go crazy, then you get yourself kind of out of that light because you can go. It's like insanity. But he's like, no, I'm good. No,
Yeah.
I'm ready
I
for
knew
whatever.
exactly what I was doing.
That's crazy.
Know the difference between right and wrong.
Yes.
So you know murder is wrong.
Murder is a different name for a death, but yes.
Your freedom meant more than their lives.
Yes.
And now the judge reads out the jury's recommendation.
Jury unanimously recommending that the defendant be sentenced to death.
Brady seems completely emotionless, and the judge later agrees on the death penalty, where he now sits locked up in Colorado, awaiting his death sentence.
Yo, I have never seen somebody be like, okay.
Well, yeah, I mean,
That's
because
crazy, Joy.
he is emotionless, and wherever the lights went off, then it's off. His emotions, his heart, his feelings, whatever transpired. I don't know. I mean, I know that there's research out there that supports there are people that are born with cold hearts, but I don't know.
Woo.
This is Austin Myers and Timothy Mosley. They were both convicted of murdering 18-year-old Justin Back in Waynesville, Ohio. The two men, Myers and Mosley, went to Back's house in an attempt to rob a safe that belonged to his father. During the robbery, Back was strangled with a choke wire.
The idea of strangling them, that way it would create no mess, pretty much be an easier job to handle. Obviously, Justin was trying to put up a fight, and he wasn't overpowering us.
Justin Back was then stabbed 21 times until he died.
Justin was trying to ask us why. He was pleading to stop and pretty much begging for his life.
On trial, Mosley testified against Myers to obtain a plea bargain, where he pled guilty and was sentenced to life in prison. Finally, for Myers, he takes the stand in front of the jury, asking them to spare his life for his family in hopes of avoiding the death sentence.
If you choose for me to die, it's only going to cause more pain and suffering
Oh, please.
for another family.
Please. You didn't think about that when you was choking the man, stabbing the boy 21 times.
crazy.
I mean, at that point you got to be you have to be in the mindset of insanity. You got to be in that little fizzy area where there is no saneness coming as a human, and you just continue. I mean, how do you stab a person 21 times and
What get me is you do that, and then they tell you what your fate is, and then it's like, okay, I'm like, bruh, you not scared like how your life gonna be after, like when they snuff your lights out, like what's gonna happen to you afterwards? Like you don't think about any kind of afterlife. You're just gonna be blackness, bruh. I mean, golly.
it's cognitive?
Not me. It won't hurt me. I won't feel anything. It's going to hurt more innocent people.
This is now the father of Justin Back speaking.
I'm not going to stand up here and tell you how much I hate you. That is without question. I would just hope that every time you close your eyes at night, you see my son, Justin.
After the jury recommended the death sentence, this is Myers' last chance to plead for his life in front of the judge.
I think there's a lot of good things I can do with my life if you allow me to keep my life.
And the judge doesn't buy it. He
Right.
hands down the maximum sentence.
The
Good.
defendant does not understand how precious life is. Therefore, the sentence of death shall be imposed upon Austin Gregory Myers on the charge of aggravated murder.
Nothing but a slight nod. At just 19 years old, this made Myers the youngest Ohio individual to be put on death row. He is
19.
currently awaiting his execution at Chillicothe Correctional Institution.
There's so many lives destroyed by this, and it was just for nothing. I mean, there was no money in the safe. There was nothing in there. They did
it was
this
nothing.
for basically nothing.
This
Y'all see, that's crazy. You better off going to rob the bank.
But
At least you would have had the cash. You could touch and see it
How
for a
do you
minute.
know he even had a safe in there? Did they know the guy?
Had to,
Oh man, that's just
because it was
so
his dad.
sad.
It was the dad's safe.
Wow.
Is Nico Jenkins, who was convicted on 4 counts of murder when he went on a killing spree in the span of 10 days in Omaha, Nebraska. At 15 years old, Jenkins was sent to a youth correctional facility and served a 10-year sentence in prison for carjacking and assault. A month after his release, Jenkins shot and killed 2 individuals in a robbery. 8 days later, his next victim was a former inmate he originally met in prison. He was shot and killed in his own garage. 2 days after that, Jenkins killed his 4th victim in a carjacking. Jenkins was arrested for unrelated charges, but it was here that cops were able to pin the ammo used in one of the killings to Jenkins.
Do you not realize I got Nico Jenkins? Do you not realize that? I got Nico Jenkins. I got you.
What do you mean you got me?
I got your DNA at the murder scene. I got your DNA in the car.
Sir.
I got the weapon. I got Nico Jenkins.
Jenkins pleaded no contest
And
to
look,
4
look how
counts
arrogant he is still.
Where he getting them shades from? They look.
But look,
He like he can't get ready to go to the NBA. Like he just got drafted.
Like, you know, it's like yeah, I did it. No remorse, none whatsoever. See, those are the people that I feel
now
there seems to be no rehabilitation.
Absolutely.
The other guy who we just saw, the youngest kid,
possibly.
Maybe because he it's too late. He felt remorse.
Yeah.
Because he wants you to save his life. So maybe now he understands the value of life because his is going to be taken.
Right.
But the friend who was testifying about it, no remorse.
This dude right here look like.
But he looks like
cool.
You know,
I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm about that life. That's horrible.
First-degree murder. He also waived his right to a jury trial, meaning a 3-judge panel will decide if he is innocent or guilty.
Each one of these murders was a deliberate and planned act. The victims were pre-selected and the murders were purposeful.
After Jenkins is found guilty of all 4 murders, he sits still with little movement. And now comes his sentence.
Therefore, this panel finds that the death penalty is appropriate, should be, and is hereby given for each of the 4 murders by the defendant.
As Jenkins is sentenced to death, he seems to be completely unfazed. He is currently incarcerated at the Nebraska State Penitentiary awaiting his death sentence. This is Martez Abram, who is convicted on...
I really would like to know his story. Because if he started out as a... Well, we know his childhood had to be... Something went wrong somewhere. And he started out... Because at 15, if he was doing this, and then as soon as he got out, he went back to killing like it was like an appetite that he had, then somewhere something happened. Well, all of these kids, because these are still kids.
Yeah, that don't come from you just get old and go crazy. You know, childhood. I've always seen it where it relates to something. I'm sure it's few cases where it's not related to your childhood and it's just black heart. But a lot of stuff, it has a root.
Of course.
On 2 counts of murder for the killings of 2 Walmart employees in South Haven, Mississippi. Abram had worked at the Walmart but was faced with a suspension after he apparently had a knife on him in the store. The day he was suspended, he returned to the store with multiple weapons and opened fire, killing store managers Anthony Brown and Brandon Gales.
He was laying on the ground with his eyes open, and I ran up to him and I looked at him. I said, Anthony, honey, please say KC one more time.
He also shot an officer who survived due to his bulletproof vest.
Once I got out of my vehicle, I heard gunshots and I felt the pressure of the bullet hit my back.
He was arrested on site. Now in court, Abram admits to all crimes.
That's you, isn't it, sir?
Yes.
Look at it, please, sir.
Yes.
Mr. Gale is on the floor going down at this point, isn't he?
Yes.
Okay.
The personality is confused, throwing me off.
Well, I mean, at that moment, he react. It seems like he reacted out of anger. When that anger blurs the vision, clouds the mind, leads to death. And that's pretty much and that's what happened. He just all he saw was red. He wasn't thinking rational or none of that.
Yo.
But now, in hindsight or whatever, he's back to his rational self.
But he's
devastated.
It's off to he's like yes, like what is like his
I don't
personality
know if he has a diagnosis or what. It appears that he could possibly have a diagnosis. I don't know if Walmart, if they have programs set up for like some of the other grocery stores that will hire, individuals that have mental health diagnoses or, stuff like that. So.
And that's you shooting him, right?
Yes.
Look at the screen, sir.
Yes.
That's you shooting him?
Yes.
And you admit
Definitely got
that
a
you shot him in
disorder.
cold blood?
Yes.
Of a
You shot him again,
diagnosis.
didn't you?
Yes.
After that, you went back to the toilet paper roll, didn't you?
Yes.
This is one of the victim's wife delivering a victim impact statement.
You took Anthony from me on the exact day 20 years earlier that we had our first date.
And now this is when the judge will decide Abram's fate.
In count 1, I will sentence you to death. Count 2, you will be sentenced to death. In count 3, you will be sentenced to life in the penitentiary.
Ooh. As Abram hears that he will be receiving the death penalty, he stands silently, where he now sits on death row awaiting his execution.
I'm thinking like some of these people gonna get up and be like, but
this is, and it's sad, and I didn't mean to say mental health,
diagnosis.
Yeah, but diagnoses, and that's pretty much, that's still what it is. No, you said disorders, but, when a person does have a diagnosis, it's still, mental health is, unless it's a medical diagnosis.
Yeah.
But if it's something psychologically, then, yeah.
See, but I want to know, like,
places aren't going to hire you if you have a mental health or, something that's negative, on the autism spectrum, socially, Asperger's, they will hire, those individuals. But someone that might have, that's not stable, and a kid that has negative diagnoses like your conduct disorders and, some other diagnoses. See, the guy the young man that was 15, I know he was probably diagnosed with conduct disorder. But before that, it's they don't give him that diagnosis until they get to a later age.
Right.
But in elementary school, these symptoms are displayed, and you can see these signs very early because they start off as little small things. But if you don't catch them, they don't get the help that they need, they don't get the resources, then that's what happens.
Well, that's because that's your area.
This is Markeith Lloyd, who is convicted of murdering a police officer in Orlando, Florida.
I'm raising a relationship for someone I have absolutely don't know nothing about.
Well, he looked crazy.
Lloyd was already on the run from the police after he killed his former girlfriend, who was pregnant with his child. A month later, Lloyd is spotted in a Walmart. You can see him walking in. Moments later, Orlando Police Lieutenant Deborah Clayton pulls in. You can see her grab a cart and walk in. Reportedly, they cross paths every few minutes. Outside the store, Lieutenant Clayton was notified, and she tried to stop and arrest Lloyd when a shootout begun. Lieutenant Clayton was killed during the interaction, being shot 4 times. Following the murder, Lloyd took off again, which led to a 9-day manhunt, where he was later found. During the arrest, he tried to escape, where he lost his left eye in the altercation. Here in court, Lloyd took the stand. Reportedly, he believed everyone was out to kill him.
And I was just reacting, Mary. I was just reacting. Even when they opened the door, I just reacted. I fired 2 shots, I just reacted.
The jury then found him guilty.
It really hurts deep down inside.
This is Lieutenant Clayton's sister giving a victim impact statement.
She stood in the place as my mother when I didn't have one. I truly miss my sister. I truly miss her.
And this is the moment that Lloyd hears that the jury unanimously recommends the death sentence.
We, the jury, unanimously find that the defendant, Markeith Lloyd, should be sentenced to death.
Lloyd seems to mouth something out to the public. A few moments later, Lloyd has an outburst.
You've been trying to kill you. People try to bring me for murder.
All right, why don't we remove Mr. Lloyd from the courtroom?
The judge later agreed with the jury and sent Lloyd to death, where he now sits behind bars waiting for his death sentence.
Bruh said, these people been trying to get me.
And so, any sane
What?
person, if a police is going to approach you, why are you going to automatically start shooting? And that's what he did. He said he started shooting because he just reacted. Nobody's going to, your average sane person is not going to react when a police officer approaches you. You're not just going to start shooting.
Did they say she was there for him, or she was just grocery shopping? Or was she doing indiscreetly?
Well, I guess she came in, and then every time she knew he was there. They were just talking about how, I don't know if she got the call, but he was there. She went up, and every few moments they crossed paths. So when she went out at a store, I guess she tried to arrest him. But I would not have been trying to arrest that big 7 foot. It seemed like he was a big man. Your average man is going to be stronger than a woman anyway.
This dude is burly. I'm talking about this dude look like he about 6'3".
On the radio with back up. As soon as I wouldn't even got out of the car.
No.
Act like I'm out of the shop without somebody, coming in to support me. Man was 10 feet tall and he was big. But see, them reacting to, he looked like he was just like, okay, what they gonna do? Are they gonna let me free? He acted like he looked like he had a sense of hope.
He said, "Them folk been after me."
Stop it. But man,
I eat everybody in here.
It was amazing to see how these killers reacted to their own death sentences. It's just sad. This was interesting.
Now that was crazy, dude. Boy, man, come on, bro. Bro, look buck crazy. Like I've seen these people that look like him out, and you be like, man, I don't want nothing.
Psychological
dysfunction. Fire on me around this kind of dude.
That's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say psychological dysfunction is real because we throw the terms out there and say, someone does a heinous crime, and people automatically are going to assume that they have a mental health disorder or some type of diagnosis, and that's not always the case. You just saw several of these guys on here. 3 out of the 5 guys were very aware of what they were doing with no remorse. Of course, mental health, or being in the field of psychology, clinical psychology, they're going to, and I'm not a clinical psychologist, but I'm just saying when it comes to disorders, that's where that goes on that side. They're going to have a diagnosis for you because that's what that is.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, we can't say everyone has a mental health problem because they do a heinous crime. I don't believe that.
No. Sometimes you got that demonic spirit in you, and you letting that take over.
Are cold-blooded. Can you be rehabilitated? Some don't feel that way. You can't save them all, and that's what I was told early in education. You can, because I was, and then you have some who would do some things just out of malice. So I know that. No, there are many individuals can be rehabilitated, and there are some that
and sometimes be.
Even
if you change your life and rehabilitate it, you have still taken life, which in this country, your life is over unless you underage. Underage are the only people that get out from that kind of stuff, right? Unless you.
Well, I know though it's going to go based off of the laws in your state. But if a kid is really young, 6, 7, 8, 9, then young. There's juvenile court, juvenile detention center. But I don't remember how young kids are when they go to the juvenile detention center. I don't think they're as young as 6.
Yeah,
and I think it would need to be really. I wouldn't put a 6-year-old. 7 out, I really wouldn't even want to put an 8 or 9-year-old in there, but it's still a little different than a 5 or 6-year-old.
All right, y'all. That's it for this one, man. Tell me what y'all think about that, man. That was the death sentence. How do y'all feel about the death sentence, man? Just drop it down below. I'm curious to see what everybody thinks about the death sentence. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and you're entitled to your own opinion. No judgment here. We love you guys.
We love you guys. See y'all on the next one, man.
Subscribe.